quick. I don't want to let today's show get away without sort of addressing the Brandon Aiyuk situation.
Man.
A couple of things out there for those of you who don't know. Brandon, and this has been confirmed by Adam Schefter, that Brandon was meeting directly with the 49ers today. Now, Ryan Clark was the first to report it, and Ryan also said that when Brandon walked in to talk directly to Ryan about it, after he said, I want to go meet with the Niners, I'm taking these contractual offers personally. Right after that, his friend and TikTok partner, Jaden Daniels, walked into the room. This is the new quarterback for the Washington Commanders. Now, Ryan put two and two together and said, sounds to me like Brandon wants to play for the Washington Commanders. Is that a leap? I don't know. Here's my read on the Brandon situation. This is what's tough. Every guy is different. Remember when Steve Wilkes said, I'm built for this? I think Brandon is not built for this.
You know I have to say I'm built for this.
That's actually a pretty good Steve.
Thank you.
Pretty good Steve.
Appreciate it.
Brandon is sensitive, it seems. And I can
honestly say I'm sort of built for this.
Yeah, I can honestly say Brandon's not. And I get it. This is now, I don't find $26 million offensive if he does, but whatever you think you're worth, some people go into these negotiations, and especially when they're public. It's a fun article on Jason Barrett's site today about media people. What if our salaries were all public? How would we deal with it?
You would like it.
Especially because we don't get $26 million. No. But anyway, Brandon's taking it personally, and therefore the 49ers' normal process of, hey, we don't have a deadline yet, so
chill.
August, maybe even late August, we're fine. This is how we negotiate. You start to wonder, can you stick to that? Or should you adjust it when you see that the person you do want, who is important to you, is emotionally cratering as you sit there and do what you just think is big-time negotiations?
Are you supposed to change your approach? Okay, Brandon, I know you're upset. I know that things aren't really feeling good for you, so we're going to go ahead and give you the $30 million. We're going to give you the Amon-Ra St. Brown deal right now because we don't want your feelings to be hurt. Or do you just let the agent know, how many ways can we tell you that we want the player, we like the player, we want to sign the player, but, it's a negotiation. It's going to take some time. So if Brandon wants to go down there and visit the team and express his feelings in person, and we don't know what he said. Maybe he said, look, if you don't want to pay me, then just trade me. Yeah, I got my buddy right here.
Maybe he did.
He's a quarterback of the Washington Commanders, and boy, it'd be fun for him to throw me the football.
Well, no, I don't think he didn't bring Jaden to the Niners facility, I don't think.
Right.
I think that Ryan was saying when he spoke to him, he was with Jaden. So I just want to make sure that was clear.
That's the way I
That'd
thought.
Be super weird if he brought Jaden Daniels to Levi's.
Yeah. Hey, John. Hey, Kyle.
Just in town.
You must be Parag.
Heard the weather was amazing. Anyway, and you're right. I don't know what was said. That's just my read. And the report is Brandon is taking these negotiations personal. And yes, that doesn't mean we just cave and give you what you want. But I do think the 49ers, and they got bit by this last year, the 49ers negotiate hard, and that's fine. But here's what I bet. I bet in the back of their minds, they know. They know how far they would move. They're going to say on June 24th, well, no, this is our last offer. This is our best offer. They're going to say that on June 24th because they want to have wiggle room when things get really hot in August. Well, I don't know. Maybe you accelerate this a little bit to where not cave, but maybe just go earlier where you knew you were going to go anyway, because you're losing the dude emotionally, and that's not good.
No, it's not good for either side.
That's not good for anybody's. And by the way, waiting until mid-August has its warts too. Nick Bosa almost missed week one.
Deebo Samuel had a rough year when he signed his deal.
So, I don't know. Maybe take a look at the way you're doing it. At least just take a look at it.
Yes,
just consider it.
What you said before about Parag Marate and the idea of win the deal, this is, and he's the financial capologist expert, front office guy for the San Francisco 49ers. So he is used to winning these contracts. And the Bosa one might have been a loss because Bosa wound up resetting the market. There's nothing you could do. You were going to take that beat, but you're looking at this one and you're probably thinking, I'd much rather pay him 27 than I would 29. And so if he's sitting at 30 and our offer is 26 right now, well, we're just going to wait. And I'll let John and Kyle deal with the agent and have the agent smooth things over with Brandon Aiyuk because we're not going to give Indy now in June.
By the way, Monty Poole has let us know that he is still working on some Warrior stuff after that press conference. He will join us, but we're going to push it about another half hour or so. So Monty Poole will join us in the 5 o'clock hour. Couple of Giants notes to throw out there as well real quick, and we can circle back to the Blake Snell commentary as well. But the Giants have announced that every uniformed player and staff member for tonight's game against the Chicago Cubs will wear the number 24. Everybody.
It's pretty cool.
Everybody wears 24 tonight at the ball game. So that's really cool. Beautiful night, obviously, here in the city. So interesting game, and obviously the doldrums of the Giants are pretty easy to see, having lost 5 in a row, and now here, that was supposed to be the soft spot in the schedule. Whoops, guess not. So there's that, and obviously a ton of Warrior stuff that we'll get back to. But the Aiyuk thing, if you want to weigh in on the way the 49ers are going about this, we'll certainly take your calls at 888-957-9570. Let me, for instance, our friend David Lombardi tweeted this, and I think that maybe this is a little bit of the idea behind where Brandon and the 49ers currently sit. David wrote this a short time ago. Don't lose sight of the fact that the ongoing negotiations are about rewarding Brandon Aiyuk a year early. He's already under contract for 2024 at $14.1 million, a very favorable rate for the 49ers. They're incentivized to replace that with a long-term deal, but only one that fits into their budget. But he also added that there's a human aspect here. Negotiations can be stressful. Players aren't robots. So waiting for ideal timing to maximize leverage isn't easy. And that seems to be important context behind this meeting. Aiyuk has not taken the Niners' offers well, and he stands to benefit from a face-to-face meeting to clear the air. Does not mean an extension is imminent, but both sides need to tend to the human aspect of this if they have any chance of expediting the process. That's his take on what was going on today.
Absolutely, and that's the way that this has to go. And if you have a negotiation that is normally going to be between the agent and the front office, whether it's John Lynch or if it's Parag Marathe, whoever it's with, Brandon Aiyuk is not involved, and it's by design because you don't want feelings to get hurt. Yet he's not involved, and his feelings are still getting hurt. So if that's the case, well, now you need to get the parties together to not necessarily negotiate in person. And I wonder if Brandon is actually going with his agent or if he's just going solo to meet with the 49ers just to say, guys, what's the deal? I thought you guys liked me. I thought I balled out for you this last year. We were, a couple of open throws to me away from winning the Super Bowl, and now here I am on ice, and, I'm not feeling the love. So I don't know if it's an informal meeting or if the agent's going to go with him and they can maybe, not even hash things out, but just talk and, get the warm and fuzzy back, because you don't want your player to be wondering and feeling like he's on the outside.
Well, I love this, to be honest with you. I really do. I love this from Brandon. I love that the 49ers were like, dude, come in. I love that he asked for this. I'm assuming he asked for this. Because if he's upset and he's offended by this, there are a number of ways to handle it differently than this. And I think Brandon has low-key been trying some other things, right? And we've seen them. We go to TikTok, and they don't want me. And we've gone to Instagram with poop emojis, right? Money Talks, BS Walks. And his girl and his brother have posted things on social media as well. So he's tried those more passive-aggressive measures, and I don't know if, you're right, I don't know if he went in with his agent or not. But I really love this approach from the perspective of, dude, if you are really getting up in your feelings about this, then at a certain point, because you know how negotiations get, somebody over there called somebody over there. Somebody high up in the Niners organization that Brandon doesn't deal with called Brandon's agent, who the Niners, right? And they're having this conversation that's way over your head. And it's getting reported back to you, and you're furious, and all of this stuff gets out of control.
And meanwhile, other wide receivers are pop. Yep.
Exactly.
Deals are flying all over the place.
At a certain point, I think it's smart to go, hey, get in a room with me. Look me in the face and tell me what the hell's going on. Because what you guys have offered me so far is really upsetting. So if you have an answer for that, look me in my eye and tell me what it is. Tell me why I shouldn't be offended that you're offering me $3 million less than Jalen Waddle. Why are you doing that? That is making me mad. I don't want to be mad. I want to be a 49er. I don't want to be ticked off at the workplace every day. How is that good for anybody? I think that's a wonderful conversation to have. I don't know if the 49ers can answer those questions well or not. I don't know if they can make him feel any better. I think that's a good approach. It's a good try.
Well, if you're Brandon Aiyuk, you don't have any other thing you can do because all of your, they said they don't want me back and the poop emoji and all the rest of the stuff you're doing, it has not moved the 49ers to action. All it's done is to make this more of a story and more people are talking about it and the trade speculation swirls and you go back to March and even April and the draft and then afterward, it's like, okay, now they're not going to trade him and yet he's popping up with Jaden Daniels and they're joking around about, this and that and the other. And you're thinking, oh, maybe he does want to play with Jaden Daniels or maybe he does want to be elsewhere. And so I think Brandon Aiyuk, and I'm not blaming him, but the actions he has taken have helped to spur this on into the public discourse even more. And he has every right to do so. And the team has a right to handle the negotiation how they want to handle it. But it becomes a thing more and more when these stories keep popping up. And the quote about they said they don't want me, that was a week ago. And so here we are a week later, and now it's another story. And now it's Brandon Aiyuk going to meet him in person, face to face. And so this continues to be something that we're all talking about because of actions. Yeah,
but the face-to-face thing, there's a messaging to us, the fans, I believe. Not purposeful. I just think this is a takeaway for me. The face-to-face meeting, to me, states that Brandon really wants to be here. He can say whatever else he wants on social media. Ryan Clark can scream about the Washington Commanders all day long. If Brandon wanted to be traded, you just tell your agent, tell him to trade me. You don't go all the way down. I don't even know where the hell Brandon is this time of year.
Yeah.
You don't come all the way to Santa Clara for a face-to-face meeting unless your motivation is that you want to be a 49er. And by the way, Adam Schefter's report included that. Option one, I want to be a Niner. Now, Brandon probably did state, if you really feel that way, if you feel I'm $3 million less than Jalen Waddle, then trade me. That probably got expressed. But the number one expression was, I want to be here, or else you don't do it this way, in my opinion. And so that's what I love about it, because also, and maybe it's just for show, but I would warn Brandon real quick about being on the Washington Commanders. They played the Niners last year. Want to know what their best receiver was quoted as saying? Terry McLaurin played the 49ers and told a reporter after the game, someday I hope to be part of an outfit like that. I'd like to be part of an organization that conducts themselves that way and has a roster that looks like that. And I don't know, a quarterback who completes passes, that would be wonderful. Brandon Aiyuk wants to join that? Get out of here. That's a terrible idea for Brandon Aiyuk.
Yeah, he just wants to get paid. So
I know.
If it's a poop emoji, if it's, a TikTok, if it's a trade threat or a trade demand or sitting out of OTAs or not reporting to camp, there are so many things in the playbook that players utilize to try to get these teams motivated to make moves. And you mentioned it before, he's already playing under a fifth-year option for 14.1. So the Niners' incentive to do anything with Brandon Aiyuk is not that high. Yes, you want to do right by a player, and now that he's got his feelings kind of hurt because he's not feeling the love, you don't want that. You don't want a disgruntled Brandon Aiyuk. You want a happy wide receiver on your team, but ultimately their incentive is not that high to give him an extension now. Of course, they want to do it, and teams usually do that. They can have him play his fifth-year option. They can franchise him, which they probably won't do, but they do have other moves that they can make if this thing wants to get a little bit tense.
I don't think they want to make any of those moves.
Of course they don't. They don't even want to mention it. And they haven't mentioned any of those.
Well, that's the weird thing for me. I don't know exactly what the Niners are doing with the cap game. I really don't. But if every word out there is the Niners really want Aiyuk, they're trying to win a Super Bowl.
But they say they don't want me.
And they want to give him an extension. It's like if you want to give him an extension, then you've already decided that he is in your future plans. Once you've decided that he's in your future plans, I would argue that means you've accepted that you would largely be willing to pay the going rate for doing so. And now the 49ers are like, and I get that there's muddy waters over what is
the going rate,
but you'll never convince me that Brandon Aiyuk doesn't deserve at least what Jalen Waddle's making. You can't convince me of that. That's just not the way the numbers work.
Well, the numbers work the way the numbers work. And you can't tell me that Justin Jefferson is 80% better than Brandon Aiyuk or whatever the percentage increase that he got was. And, we can all look at outlier contracts. The Deshaun Watson one is an abomination. You look at what Kyler Murray is making at quarterback. There are mistakes that are made in contracts. And so, yes, if you are Brandon Aiyuk, you're looking at these players and these deals and saying, I'm at least as good as that guy. I'm probably better than that guy. I deserve to be paid commensurate with that guy.
Yeah.
But it does come down to team, player, and agent, and it doesn't always work out to be fair.
No, I get it.
Based on, however you want to parse the numbers.
Pierre in Albany. Hi, Pierre. What you doing?
Hey, not much. Just got home. I got some thoughts on this contract situation.
Let's hear them.
And I think part of the zeitgeist here is we need to pay Brandon Aiyuk, or we can't afford to, or this or that. And really, what it comes down to in NFL is that hard salary cap. And essentially, a team like the 49ers that have developed so many stars cannot afford to keep all of them. And it's not that the 49ers can't actually afford it. It's just the way that league is structured. So you have to make these choices. And if you're Brandon Aiyuk, you're looking at generational wealth. I mean, he's already made more money than I'll ever make, and we could all say that. But at the same time, he has to look out for himself. And if he plays one more year at 14 point whatever, and he breaks his ankle, it's all over. So he has to do what he's doing. On one hand, it'd be well, take a discount so you could play for this great team. But why? Why should he? The player's the one who's out there on the field taking the risk every single day to sustain a serious injury. And the owners of the league that make this salary cap and all that, their ass is not on the line. They're making money hand over fist. So I know it's not going to change, but this is where we're at. And I'll even go into Brock Purdy and this quarterback cap they're talking about. All these guys deserve to get paid what they're worth. And this is what the market is saying they're worth. And the problem is not that, athletes get paid too much money nowadays and they're spoiled and they're this. No, people are making way more money and not sustaining serious, life-threatening injuries. The players need to get paid. And so as all this stuff we're talking about, I think it's really the NFL and it's the salary cap that's the problem. Not Brandon Aiyuk, not Brock Purdy, not the players trying to get their market value.
Well, Pierre, thanks, Pierre. That's a good call. I agree with largely everything you said, except for the idea that the cap sort of is a problem. Whether or not it's not going anywhere. Let's put it that way. The Niners have done a very good job of navigating it. Does it mean that you can't keep all of your players long term? Sure it does. But my read on this is they've chosen that Brandon is the one they want to keep. That's why they offered him an extension. I am operating under the idea, and it is just an idea, but that option one for the 49ers, if they've got to move on from a receiver, they would like to move on from Deebo Samuel after this upcoming year. They don't want to move on from Brandon Aiyuk. That doesn't even make any sense to me. Brandon has shown that he's the better all-around receiver. Brandon is younger. Brandon is less of an injury risk. That's why they're offering him an extension. I think that trade conversations before the draft went further about Deebo than they did about Brandon. So you're not wrong about what the 49ers need to do. I just don't think Brandon is the spot where they want to do it. So that sort of takes that out of why he's not getting the money he wants. I think he's not getting the money he wants because the Niners want to win the contract negotiation.
Right, and I also think that they have an eye toward Brock Purdy and what he's going to make and what other future deals they're going to have to deal with. And so every million or every $500,000, it all adds up when you start to get into future deals. And if Brock Purdy is going to get Trevor Lawrence money, if not a little bit more, now all of a sudden you're thinking, geez, even if the cap does go up after next year, we're still going to be paying a ton of money to Brock Purdy, and we're going to have to pay a ton of money to all these other players. So you want to keep Aiyuk